hoping it'll go into the, I know it will go into the sandwich TV. So I'm a member of the peanut gallery, as the building inspector calls us, the peanut gallery. So this is the outline. First I'll explain the handouts, then introductions, then I'll give you a little geography course on heritage. Then I'll go step by step as to how they got the permit, and then step by step as to how they built. Then I'll go over the comparison with Canton and the commonalities. And then if Ed wants to say, this is, by the way, I'll do introductions right now. This is Ed Tassi and Kathy, and they're from Canton. And the reason they're here, as most of you may know by now, is they built a zip line, just like Heritage, by the same people, treetop adventures, right behind his house, so close as the front of this building to Main Street. That's about 75 feet. Totally lit up, which you'll see at Heritage someday. Totally lit up. He had to move his elderly mother from the front of the house, put her bedroom from the back of the house into the front of the house. That's how bad it is. He's got the kids screaming. They were a much bigger, higher zip line than this one. And they're under a non-profit, the Irish Cultural Center. We're under a non-profit, Heritage Museums and Gardens. Same old, okay? Something in there. There's something went on. So that's who they are, and this is my neighbor across the street, who we banter this all day long, every day. Yeah, Dick Harris, I'm sorry, Dick. So, fine neighbor you are. So, and in the audience we have Ursula Price and Randy Morgan. Did I say Randy? Edward. I get Randy and Edward. And and we have people that live mostly on Pine Street, Shaw Road, and Grove Street. And another partner in the troublemaking group is Eric Small and his wife, June. So here we go. I'm going to start by telling you something about the geography. If you go to page 8 in your package, not that one, yeah, that's it. Page 8, it should be right on top. You'll see 67 Grove Street, map 37, lot 6. And you'll see map 37, lot 1, which is 0 Picasset Road. And map 37, lot 2, which is 0 Sean Road. Those are individual lots. There is no such thing, according to land court, that allows a town road to separate land and that allows a development where you can have one lot, like 67 Grove Street, and say, that really includes all of these lots. That is absolutely against the law. It is not allowed. It's against the law. So if somebody gets a permit for 67 Grove Street, they should be building on 67 Grove Street. And the Massachusetts Department of Public Safety, 780 CMR, which is the building code. And I know the building code. I built for 7 years. And 105.3 says, the applicant, that's Heritage and Treetop Adventures in Canton, must describe by address and lot number, which will define definitively the land upon which the work is to be done. All right? So you cannot get a building permit for 200 New Boston Road, and you cannot get a building permit for 67 Grove Street and use it on other lots. Okay? Yes.
Just to frame the conversation, can you tell us, I guess, purpose and goal of the meeting? Where do you as the organizers want to end up?
Okay.
I'd like to know where I'm headed.
Okay, here's what drove the meeting. Since the day that they got the approval to start all this, and that was a certificate of appropriateness, and 10 days went by. From that day to today, we have never, ever, ever been allowed to speak at any public forum anywhere except the Selectmen's public forum, but there's no conversation there. You can just say something. You can only say it for 5 minutes. But we have never been able to get up and say, hey, wait a minute. How come you gave out a building permit for Lot 6 and built on Lot 1? I want to know the answer to that. We have never been. So today we would like to tell as many people as possible what went on. And the other thing is we're very, very suspicious about what went on, because the certificate of appropriateness that kicked us off and drove it all the way through to getting it built and getting it used only took 12 minutes at the Sandwich Historic District Committee. It takes a half an hour to talk about a solar panel on the back of your house that doesn't show. 12 minutes. 6 of those minutes were joking around. I got the tape. So it took them 6 minutes to decide, well, how could they do that? They didn't ask any questions. They didn't ask for the butters list and check it. They didn't ask for a plot plan and check it. They just okayed it. Then it went to the Board of Appeals, and I'm going to cover all this more. And at the Board of Appeals, I made a 2-hour presentation. And they said we'd taken under consideration. We all went home. After we left the building, they reconvened, and in 6 minutes approved it. They approved the CEO of Heritage saying the reason we didn't notify 93 abutters, and that's you abutters, Ursula and all the people in the Highview, the reason she gave was clerical error. I got an idea. If you make a clerical error, fix it. And fix it before you start building. So that's what drove us to have this meeting. What do we want out of it? I guess we want all you people. Speak to your selectmen. Speak to somebody.
Don't the bylaws, you already stated that you've not been allowed to really have a public discussion with town officials. Isn't there a bylaw or a statute that requires them to be responsive to you as abutters because of all the different evidence that has been presented?
There is. But you have to file it within 10 days of the time that they make the decision. That's the appeal period.
Isn't there something illegal about what they did? They could go to jail.
Oh, wait till I get finished.
Okay.
Carl,
I want him in jail.
may I add something to Carlos, Mr. Tom? There are laws. You can bring a law before the selectmen in the town of Sandwich. You can stand up, we're on camera here, you'll be on camera when you stand up to do it. You'll be thanked, and the answer might be, we'll get back to you. But there is no guarantee they will come back to you, no guarantee they'll pick it up. The red herring that they've used all along on this is there's been a lawsuit that's been brought by some other folks that aren't present here, and that lawsuit is going to be heard this winter. And that's almost a 2-year-old lawsuit, so it takes so bloody long to get something to happen. it's so hard to be on the defensive on this. So
Canton?
your question is good, and thank you.
Canton has filed a lawsuit. And when did you file, what the date?
I filed it August 3rd,
So he's looking at approximately 2 years.
of putting up with nothing but aggravation.
It's a horrible situation, it's really a bad situation with him because it's in his backyard. So let me continue though, I want to keep this sort of oddity first, and then we can break into a lot of discussion, okay? But that's a good, why are we here, question. And there's another big reason, I'd like to say that until last. It has to do with my suits.
Can I interject or something? I'd like to answer that question. We're here for justice. For justice.
Yes, yes, that's a good word. Okay, so the other myth that I want to clear up is a contractor, a builder, Heritage Museum and Gardens, the King of Spain. If you're gonna build on a lot, you must notify the abutters to that lot. You do not decide on your own. Well, I don't think Ursula can see it, so I'm gonna leave her off the abutters list. I don't think, even though she's an abutter, I don't think the Giamicottis will care, they're on the other side, so we'll leave them off the abutters list. You don't make that decision. Chapter 40 of the open meeting law says, you will notify abutters. Not some abutters, not the abutters you like, not the abutters you don't like, you will notify abutters. Now, at the hearing, the board has every right to say, listen to you, and in their mind, they can say, well, you know, he lives way down the street. Let's say somebody was gonna put a McDonald's someplace in town. Somehow they got the okay to put in a McDonald's. And the guy lived right next door, and the guy lived through the woods a little bit, but their lot lines above it. McDonald can't say, well, that guy can't see the McDonald's, so we're not gonna notify him. That's against the law. There are laws that you have to follow. It's the only way to do it. If you don't follow the laws, the next guy coming along will say, gee, I got a nice little mini golf down here across from the funeral home. I think I'll put some posts in, like they do in York, Maine, and I think I'll set up a small zip line. Can you stop them? Well, what about Heritage? You let them do it. Yeah, but this is historic. Heritage is historic. Yeah, but this is scenic road. Heritage is on the scenic road. How are you going to stop them? There's laws that you people made up. You're the ones that voted for the laws, the zoning laws, and they're good laws. So we just expect people to follow them, that's all. But Heritage, when I get into this, it's not one law. Let me go on to say, those are the two myths. The next thing is, what was the step-by-step to get the Historic District Committee to approve the zip line? I go to do something in my house that requires an approval from the Historic District Committee, okay? So the first thing I do is I advertise. I say, everybody in Sandwich and my neighbors, this is what I'm gonna build a shed. The second thing I do is in the advertisement, I tell them where it's gonna be, and every single application, you will always see the address in terms of map and lot. I'm on map 37, lot, map 92, lot 35. I gotta put that in there. Then I have to send out a notice to all the abutters. I have to do that. Then I have to go to the hearing with a plot plan. And they have to look at the plot plan and say, yeah, that's okay. Or no, why don't you move it over, whatever. And then I have to get that approved, and I have to get a building permit. So let's see what they did. And the law, open meeting law says, when you advertise what you're gonna do, it has to be understandable. That makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, if I told you I was gonna put in my backyard a polylinear delinearization integrated ice detector, what would you think? What is it? I'll tell you what it is. I've been in the submarine business all my life. It's what goes on the conning tower of a submarine to tell how thick the ice is, so can they break through or not. That's what it is. But you wouldn't know that. And if somebody said to you, you gotta bring yourself back to those days now. Not now that everybody's aware, but back to those days. Let me read what they advertised. They advertised construction of 2 yurts. You know what a yurt is? I never knew what a yurt is. They're round buildings. And the elements for an aerial adventure exhibit. Exhibit. Okay, what do I think back then? Well, my wife read this ad to me. I said, great, they're gonna put antique World War I airplanes out on the parade ground. They're gonna build little hangars. That's what I thought. Honest to God, that's what I thought. That isn't understandable, therefore it's against the law. And the address they gave, map 37 lot 6. There's only one map 37 lot 6 in the town of Sandwich. There's only one. That's where the antique cars are, and the carousel, and what used to be the military museum before they stripped it out. And that is 67 Grove Street. It's not Pocasset Road, it's not Sham Road, it's 67 Grove Street. That's where they're gonna build this exhibit. So a little time goes by, and we walking up there. Tom, my neighbor's walking his dog, and he says, hey, there's all kinds of lumber and cable and everything else going over on the, what we used to call the meadow. The meadow was lot number 1. Map 37 lot 1. Then somebody comes along and says, hey, look at this in the paper. Heritage is getting $1 million to build a parking lot, to change roads around. And in the process, putting in a zip line. We're saying, what? Who said that? Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So we find out, we get out of the builder's office and we say, this is like a month and a half later, after they get their appeal in the middle of the night, that their certificate of appropriateness in the middle of the night to do it. We get on the building inspector's office and we say, what's going on out there? They're building a challenge course. Well, how come we didn't know about it? Yeah, they had it in the paper. Where? Oh, the exhibit.
Excuse me, Carlos? Even challenge course or ropes course, it sounds so insignificant. It's an amusement park,
Yes.
is what it is, or zip line. You know, it's taking up 4 acres of the property behind me. So it sounds, even when I showed you the ZBA, you know, what they were talking about, oh, the Little Ropes course behind, on the Little Ropes course. It sounds like the Boy Scouts put it up,
Yeah.
you know? And
It's,
it cost $700,000 to build.
This one here, Ed, is on 4.6 acres.
Right.
And you're right about that. It's CMR 520 is what they had to get the inspection for. CMR 520 is an amusement park.
Same year, they had
Yeah, I'm
to
trying to
make
think,
amusement park license.
don't quote me on that, because I think it's under CMR 520 that it's the amusement park. But under that comes challenge courses. And under that comes trolleys that have to be registered according to the building permit with the United States tracking system to track trolleys, because they may collect all the trolleys at the end of the year. And then they may redistribute them, and you may have a bad trolley. That's why they have to have, each trolley needs a serial number. If you don't think people get hurt on these courses, think again. Last year, 6 deaths. A little 12-year-old girl down in North Carolina, a 16-year-old girl in South Carolina, a 52-year-old father has his daughter watch in Orlando. These are absolute truths. Tennessee, the kid got caught halfway across, fell through and hung until he was dead. In Arizona, a Boy Scout went before his scoutmaster had him hooked up properly, and he died. Two months ago at the most, maybe it was less than 2 months, a 67-year-old woman was given a little course on how to hook the carabiners up. for 20 minutes. 67 years old, 20 minutes. She got up on the tree 40 feet high. For some reason, she unhooked both, like Joan would do.
Oh,
And down she went. And she died. That's a sad thing. She died. While her daughter watched. So these places can be dangerous. Heritage is one of the only places, along with Canton, that does not require helmets. The only reason there was a giant tree up there, it was a pitch pine, and they had it tied off 6 ways, 6 different routes. It was dead as a doornail. Now, these are your responsible people, right? I went to the police department and I filed a child endangerment complaint. They had to take it all down, cut the tree down. And they put it on other trees. Then I went back to the police department because there was another great big dead pine. I said, when kids walk along those trails, or the adults, on a windy day, that pitch pine is dead as a doornail. It's not so much the whole tree will fall over them, but branches can come down. And there were 2 kids killed in Methuen, I think it was last year, with branches coming down from trees. It can happen,
There's 2 deaths in Canton.
yeah, from trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to the police department, filed another child endangerment, and they took that tree down. So I don't know if I have to do this one tree at a time, because I'll tell you right now, they've got a whole bunch of cables tied off to pitch pines. Pitch pines are what you see, if you drive up down Sham Road, and you come out onto the paved path and look up into the woods, you'll see pitch pines all down, and they come out at the roots. They're a very fragile tree. They get eaten by the turpentine beetle. And can you imagine a whole bunch of kids up on that zip line on a windy day, some summer day, not southwesterly winds coming in, and one of those trees going over and taking 2 or 3 trees with it, or 4 or 5 kids, and you get a kid with a spinal injury? Is that a good thing? This is ridiculous. We asked for a safety hearing, and we're refused.
It's 100% pine, what they're using in
I
Canton.
bet yours, white pine, I think, yeah.
well, the beetles have gotten into all the pines. I cut down 7 pine trees on my yard because the beetles have gotten into them. You can see the sap.
Well, yeah, same up there.
And they're, well, I don't have any pines now, but, because I cut them down. And I had to replace them with the hardwood trees, but,
Up there, we spotted where the beetles get into the pines that were tied off.
and this is a bad year for them.
And what they did is they wrapped it in plastic and shot some chemical in there, supposedly to kill the beetles. So what? It might be dead inside, you don't know.
Yes.
So anyway, here's what happened. Now,
Get off the track.
get off the track. Here we go. Here we go. Now, did Heritage advertise? Well, this is the advertisement. Where's the form? Can you read it? It says 67 Grove Street, right?
What page?
It's page 9.
9.
Does that say 67 Grove Street? Up at the top right hand, where it says exhibit at 67 Grove Street?
Yeah.
All right, let's put that over here, 67 Grove Street, right here. All right. Now, the next thing we're gonna look at is notifying the butters. Page 10 shows you Ellen Spear's request. This is a request for a list of abutters. Okay, you see it? It's page 10. What abutters? What map and lot does she have there?
37-1.
37-1. You know where that is? That's not, that's right here. That's a little blue one. That's here. That's not 67 Grove Street. Well, let's see, what did she get for abutters? Who are the abutters to 37-1? Let me see. Heritage Plantation on the north, Heritage Plantation on the east, Heritage Plantation on the west, and Sean Crow State Park on the, whatever one I left out.
They'll use themselves.
They use themselves, it's worse than that. They picked this lot because they knew it was only themselves. Why did they do that? Wild guess? because they didn't want any abutters coming to the meeting. So they don't notify any abutters, they use the abutters list wrongly. It's an absolute violation right there. They were supposed to use this abutters list, the one they advertised. You advertise 67, use the abutters list for 67. So, right above that though, it says, street location of the property, 67 Grove Street. You see that? Just above the 37-1? 37, map 37 lot 1 is not on 67 Grove Street. It's on 0 Pocasset Road. You can't say, I can't say I'm getting an abutters list for my lot to build something across the street by giving the wrong list of abutters. You following that? Does everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what's the next thing? Number 12.
15 to 11.
Well, 11 is that list. Okay, we go to number 12. This is a certification by the town. It says, we're giving you the list you asked for. That's what the town is saying. They're not telling you where the lot is or anything like that. They're saying, you asked for lot 1, here it is, and they're certifying that. So the town did all right, except this happens to be for map 37, parcel 1. So it's wrong. So where do we put that? I don't know where to put that. Put it in the middle someplace. I mean, it says parcel 1 on it, but it also says 67 Grove Street. So it's nowhere. Then,
That one does not say 67 Grove Street, the original application does, but that
Correct.
particular document does not. Did they know it was 60, did they have that other?
yeah,
Thing
it
in
does
front of
say,
them, you know?
it does say 67 Grove Street. Look up near the top where it says subject. You see it?
No, but it didn't say it on that one. I'm looking at the historic district,
Page 12?
yeah.
Okay.
Am I
Look at
missing?
the top paragraph.
Castle Road.
No, it doesn't say anything, it says Pecasset
Oh,
Road.
I'm sorry, you're right. No, I'm sorry. My brain was someplace
Yeah.
else. Yeah, this says map 37 parcel 1.
And my question is, did they have this list of abutters that had the 67 Grove Street when they had this?
They had this.
They have this, yeah.
So, you're right. They should have more carefully looked at the,
Right.
well, where do we put this? It doesn't go there, it doesn't go there, because on her application, she says Grove Street. But let's go now to item 13. Now, the plot plan that should have been by law, by building law, it should have had all kinds of stuff on it, and I could recite it all if I wanted to take an hour, but you have to have the lot numbers, you have to have the north arrow, you have to have the map number, you have to have the street numbers, everything, and you have to show any buildings that exist there and so forth. So what do you see on 13? Can somebody tell me what the lot number is? Where's the lot number on there? Anybody see the lot number? Does anybody see an address? Does anybody know what the word Sean means? I mean, you can guess. That the word yurts I put in there. Okay? Does anybody tell me, if they don't know that I put the word yurts in there, could they tell me what those 2 red dots were? So, the Sandwich Historic District Committee said, this is good enough. I understand what they want, and I understand what they're gonna do, and legally, this piece of toilet paper, I should have said that on TV, but this document is good enough to let us go ahead in 12 minutes with a $1 million project that will affect hundreds of people in the neighborhood. Good enough. The reason for the Historic District Committee is to protect you. They're supposed to protect you by making sure that what's built in the area is consistent with the Historic District guidelines. Now, if somebody wants to tell me that the 2 yurts they built up there with the 2 plastic bubbles and the hanging, sagging canvas for a outer covering is an attractive Cape Cod building. I will buy, if you're sincere and you say that, I'll feel so sorry for you that I'll buy you a steak dinner right across the street. Nobody in their right mind can look at those 2 ugliest buildings on the Cape, ugliest, with big plastic skylights in the top. What kind of judgment is that? And in 12 minutes, they okay it. And just to tell us how much they care, in the wintertime, they put the Bouse House right between them.
Because it brings in millions of dollars.
Brings in probably 500,000 last year,
Wow.
based on her count, and the average charge.
I have a question on this. Does this show the lines and so forth? I didn't see the yurts that you described. Does this show where
Yeah, hold it up a minute, I'll tell you.
the one you're just looking at?
Yeah, those are the lines.
Oh, those are the lines.
Those are the zip lines.
And did
So-
they recognize that these were the zip lines when they were approving this? I mean, there's no, as you said,
They
there's no
did,
description.
they did. Here's the real bad. They did because on the audio, I heard one of the members say, what's happening here on lot 2? Now, that means he knows where lot 2 is. And he knows this is not on 67 Grove Street. He knows that. So, what happens next? They approve it, they stamp it. Where should I put this one? Anybody know? I'll put it in the middle. So you look at the next one, number 14, page 14. Now this is the all-important permission to go ahead. This is the certificate of appropriateness. The address of the proposed work is, wow, 67 Grove Street. Map 37, lot 6. How can that be? We just reviewed the plot plan for lots 1 and 2. We sat there and reviewed it. And then we approved map 37, lot 6. How can you do that? Then, they went down the next morning. This is I don't even have to look, it's April 23rd, 2014. The next morning, they got on the clerk's office and they filed 2 permits. One has to go to the state because it goes to the Massachusetts Board of Public Safety. That's for the zip line license. And the other one goes to the town, and that's a standard building permit. Well, let's see, now they want a project address here for the state is 67 Grove Street, map 37, lot 6. You with me? Put it over here. The next permit says, 67 Grove Street. This one goes to the state. Page 15 goes to the town, okay? So we'll put it over here, okay? Now the building, what we found out, we didn't find this out, but we went, a whole bunch of us went down to the next nearest Sandwich Historic District Committee meeting. And we said, look, you made this mistake, this mistake, this mistake. And they said, you leave the room or we leave the room. Because it's already been decided and it's gone beyond 10 days. And you can't appeal it because it's gone beyond 10 days. Well, how could we appeal it if we didn't know? If we never got notified, wrong address, how could we appeal it? It's like, I don't know how many of you saw the movie Catch-22. You go in a circle. You should have appealed. How can we appeal? Well, you should have appealed. How can we appeal? We weren't notified. Well, that's too bad. You should pay attention. Pay attention to what?
They told me the newspaper. Wrong address again.
Yeah. What? This is exactly the same as Canton. So as I go along here, it's parallel in Canton, except you go directly to the zoning board and we go through the historic district. Okay, so here, the building inspector says, well, I can't give you a permit without a real plot plan. So in the next 2 months, from the 23rd of April 2014 until the 22nd of June 2014, Heritage has a plot plan done. Now we're gonna get into things that are correct, because the plot plan and the survey, certified survey, are done by a surveying company happens to be called Holes in the Ground. They can't lie. Their business is being correct. They must be correct on everything. That the day they lie, they lose their stamp and they lose their credibility. So they say to Heritage, well, what are you going to do and where are you going to do it? So Heritage tells them what they want. And here on 17, look at 17, you'll see lot 1 and lot 2. 0 Pecasset Road and 0 Shum Road. Lot 6 is barely shown, it's way up the trunk. Has nothing to do with this because down the bottom, now you can't read it because it's so small, but here's a larger version. On this plan that's stamped by the engineering company, the real guys, the guys that do it right. It says that the building number is 0 Shum Road, and the assessor's number is map 37 lot 1 and map 37 lot 2. And it also says, the reference book is 325, page 97, plan book 320, page 24, 324, page 77. Now that means that it's registered at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds, those 2 lots. Now, the baloney you're gonna hear from people, and it's real baloney, is that we think of Heritage as all one place, all the lots put together. That's the way we think of it. 67, the mailing address, 67 roads. That's absolutely what you don't do when you deal with land. That's what you don't do law-wise. Why? Because people like us are sitting here in this meeting when you do it. There's no such thing as saying 67 Grove Street covers all 3 lots. Not in 1 million years. And they know that. So let's go to the building permit. That's the next page, page 18. These documents, by the way, are right out of the building inspector's office, right out of the, you have, any one of you can walk in and say, let me see this document or that document, it's totally legal, and they have to give it to you with a smile. Keep that in mind. Here's the building permit. And it says, the job location is 67 Grove Street. Map 37 lot 6. And it says, you need, if you go to the left column down the bottom, CS Cert, as built. That's a certified survey that you must have, just like when I built homes, whoever built your home, had to give the building inspector a certified survey. Everybody, anybody whose house was built since 1973, as a minimum, has to, when they invoke the Uniform Code, has to have a certified survey. And that says to the building inspector, okay, you did what you said you were gonna do. And it's on the place on the lot where you said it was gonna be, and it's on the right lot, and it's got the right setback, etc. And the reason that's important, really important, is you may live in a house that has a view of the bay. And somebody's gonna build a big double-decker in front of you. And they can put it over a little bit, and you still get your view within reason. And that's all worked out. Builder comes along and he says, I think I'll move it over here. Completely blocks your view. And the law says that the builder must comply with 110.1, which is the site location survey. He must. He cannot do anything else without a verified legal variance. Okay? Now, 520 CMR inspection, that's the state. And what it is this is not complicated, even though to you it may be astounding, but that says that this is a challenge course, an amusement. And what that's saying is that what the state does is they say, we don't have enough people to inspect this amusement. But here's a list of people that can do it. We certify them to be able to do it. You call one of them, they'll do it and give us the report, but they are working for the state. So that's what the 520 CMR is. The state UBIS is the identification number on each of the trawlers that I talked about earlier. Okay, so this thing goes,
Carlo,
yeah,
on that building permit, under owner's name, it's not even Ellen Spear's name.
yeah, I know, let me look.
What does that mean? Yeah, Ellen Spear.
Applicant.
Ellen Spear. Ellen Speak.
Ellen Speak, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Whoever transcribes it.
I think that's bad. Where do we get them from? So, they go ahead, and in the meantime, between the 22nd of June and the 18th of September, nothing happens. No building permit is issued. Why not? Why not? What's happening all summer? We're going back and forth to the building inspector's office saying, hey, you can't issue that. You cannot issue that for that lot and have them build on another lot. He said, they're all, his words to me, they're all R1 lots. I said, yeah, but one has 93 abutters. Yeah, simple stuff. You think I'm kidding? I mean, you look at me and say, he's kidding. I'm not kidding. So, by the way, before I leave this building permit, look way up the top, you see a long rectangular box. And the second sentence says, all permitted work requires a final inspection on most work, and a certificate of occupancy shall be required. That's it. That's this building permit, which is C14-92 for 67 Grove Street. Okay? So now, they get a,
Carl, is there a reason why one date's crossed off and another date's up here on the?
that's a great question, I don't know. I went in and saw the date crossed off sometime in July and August, I don't know. In fact, I don't know why, and I've been on this for 2 years, every inch of the way. I don't know why he waited from June 22nd to September 18th to issue the building permit. Why did he do that? What was going on? Who was saying what to who? Now let's go to page 19. That's the certification of compliance. And that's by the third party. Remember I explained when they say you can use this person to do the inspection, but they work for the state, whatever. And they issued this approval. Happens to be February 20th, 2015. I'll tell you right now, the snow was 8 feet deep up there when they did this. I don't know how they did it. But anyway, they did it. And now let's see, where did they issue that approval? Oh, 67 Grove Street. There must be a zip line on 67 Grove Street if that's where they inspected. Right? We'll put that over here, 67 Grove Street. Now we come to the biggie. All right. The building inspector tells me he needs 3 things to get to Heritage, and Heritage has to do one thing. Now this is to get the license to operate. License to operate. To get it, you need a final inspection, a certificate of occupancy, then you make out an application, and they send you a license to operate. Okay, but, you need an as-built survey. Remember that? Talked about that? Okay. Building inspector says to me, I said, what are you gonna do now? How can they get their license? It's on the wrong lot. He says, well, I'll take care of that. So, he says, I need the certificate. I said, you need an as-built certified survey. He said, yeah, I'll wait for it. All right. Hold up one second. Remember I told you, these guys, these surveyors make a living telling the truth, and they do. Here's the certified survey. It's absolutely perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. As far as what he saw, he went up there and he saw as a challenge course on lots 1 and 2. That's the survey they did and they show it. Here's lot 1, here's lot 2. Here's the yurts. Now, they say here, I certify that the structures are located as shown. These are the yurts. And they say here, the building number 0 Sham Road and 0 Pecasset Road, assessors number 37-1 and 37-2. Have you heard 37-6? No? And Plan Book 325, page 97, Plan Book 24, page 77. And here we go. The building inspector received this. Now pay attention to this date, it's important. Received May 12, 2015, the building inspector's office. So he's got this sitting right here. There it is. He knows exactly what he's looking at. He's been up there a million times. He knows what he's looking at. This is it. This is the biggie. He sits down and he writes a certificate of inspection. And he has to. It's 110.7, right? I certify that I have inspected the premises known as Adventure Park at Heritage, located at 67 Grove Street. Is it located at 67 Grove Street out here? Okay, either the certified surveyors are totally incompetent, they should lose their stamp, they should never be allowed to practice again, which isn't the case. They got their stamp on here. The building inspector has a real big problem. Because I told him, and I told the selectmen, right after I saw this, I went to the forum, open forum at the selectmen, I held this up and I said, this is a dangerous document because it misrepresents the location of the zip line. Why did they do that? Why did they do that? They did it because you remember that paragraph I read off the building plan that says this certified certificate of inspection is required by that building permit? He had to do that. He can't give a certificate of inspection for lots 1 and 2 because there's nothing on lots 1 and 2. It's all on 67 Grove Street. So the only address he can use is 67 Grove Street if he's going to help Heritage get a license to operate. It has to be 67 Grove Street. Well, that's what he puts. Now, not good enough, he now does a certificate of occupancy. What do you think a certificate of occupancy is? It's a document that says, I hereby have inspected everything, and I'm giving you a right to occupy this property for the purpose that it was intended, by the building permit. Certificate of occupancy is for address, 67 Grove Street. So they're letting them occupy their zip line on 67 Grove Street, right? But it ain't there. It's across the road on lots 1 and 2. Now, go to the next page. They take those two documents, and from that, they make up the next page, item 22, page 22. This is from the Massachusetts Department of Public Safety. And what they're saying with this page is, you know, it doesn't have to look exactly like this, and they say that. But you have to have these things. You have to show the elements, and you have to have the address. I, under the Freedom of Information Act, asked for this document. They don't have it. I said, why don't you have it, and how could you let them operate? How could you give them a license? 3 months went by without an answer. So I said again, I asked you this once, I'm asking again, how can you give them a license? How can you do that? They haven't given you a sign.
Who is it that you're asking this of?
Massachusetts Department of Public Safety, Robert Anderson, Chief Inspector. And he says to me, Well, I got a letter from Heritage. I'll send it to you, and he did. And it was the most circular baloney. Often when there's large swaths of land, people get confused about lot numbers, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it was awful. It was awful. And they used that as an excuse for having given the wrong number in that case. That was their excuse, large swath of land. I wrote back, hopeless, but I wrote back and said, you know, lot 1 was purchased in 1993. Relatively speaking, that's just the other day compared to that property. That property goes back to the Wing family, just beyond the Pilgrims. And then from the Wing family to Edwin Elwile, the famous sculptor, who was friends with the sculptor that carved the Lincoln statue in Washington. So I didn't know how to. I mean, the guy is not going to give in on it. So they issue the license to operate for 67 Grove Street. Okay, so these go over here, and this goes over here, and this goes over here. So what's over here? But they're running a zip line over there, so what's over there? Where are the permits? Where is anything? I'll tell you, it's absolutely shameful that the people that had the chance to do the right thing here were I'm calling the Sandwich Historic District completely out. I don't know what their incentive was. I've been in front of that committee enough times when they see me coming and tell me to shut up and get out. But the Sandwich Zoning Board of Appeals, we went before them. We said, you are a judicial body, quasi-judicial body. In other words, you go there, they're almost like a court, literally in authorized so. And it goes from there, you go to Superior Court. When we went before those people and pointed out that there was a clerical error, and pointed out, more, just as importantly, that the building permit was for the wrong lot, it was like, okay, thanks very much for the information, shrug, sit down. They don't care. Heritage is a tank, a Sherman tank, going through a cornfield. And we are the stalks of corn. They don't care.